Hi, it's Goldberg here, and in this video, I'm going to talk about a personality type that often finds themselves in a relationship with borderline people. I'm going to share with you what this personality type is, how it is formed, why they often end up with borderline people, and at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you some very important tips if you relate to this type of content and if you have found yourself in this type of turbulent relationship with a borderline person. So make sure you watch until the end, otherwise you might find yourself going around in circles that are not very pleasant. If you have something from your own experience that you would like to share with us, please tell us about it in the comments below. Remember, your comments help other people. Okay, let's get into it. The personality type that I want to talk about today is the child that wanted to rescue members of their family. The high empathy, high compassion, loyal rescuer. A child who wanted to rescue members of their family, now in adulthood rescues borderline people. Now, I do want to say at this point that this rescuer type of personality was also me in the past. I found myself rescuing several borderline women, and upon deeper introspection and self-work, I realized that this pattern and compulsion goes back to my childhood experience at home. In the formative years, if a child feels like that they have to rescue mum and dad, or even a sibling, or another family member from financial difficulty, conflicts, arguments, other life stresses, unresolved emotional traumas, then this child can certainly take it upon themselves to feel like that it is part of their identity and their obligation to rescue and save other people. And if the child carries this into their adulthood, it affects their adult relationships. Remember that a child doesn't have the intellectual ability to separate experience from self-identity. Even more so, a child that was in a dysfunctional home environment and weren't being taught correct processing and behaviors. So without the proper example and education, a child will enmesh their experience, their emotions, and their self-identity into a singular thing. Now, as an adult, this rescuer type of personality has many attributes to their personality that the borderline person really wants to be involved with. For example, high compassion, high empathy, high resilience, a strong obligation to serve others even at the expense of the self, and even emotionally available. This rescuer person seems like a dream to the borderline person because they possess all of the qualities and attributes that they missed out on in their emotionally neglectful childhood. Now, the downsides to the rescuer personality type is poor self-care, self-neglect, over-positive, over-optimistic, and often poor personal boundaries, but not always. The rescuer personality often finds it incredibly hard to walk away from the borderline person and to get out of the turbulent relationship because the rescuer person on a subconscious level feels the borderline person's pain and feels responsible for helping them and saving them from it. This often keeps them stuck in the turbulent relationship. Oh, I know this relationship is bad for me. Why can't I walk away from this person? The other problem with the rescuer type of personality is that they often end up feeling strong feelings of resentment, annoyance, and even anger, as these feelings are trying to tell the rescuer that they are losing out, they are neglecting themselves, because they are caught up in trying to help and save the other person. This dual dynamic of the rescuer slash caregiver person mixed with the resentment, the annoyance, and the anger fits in very well with the borderline person dual personality also, where the borderline person wants to be loved and rescued, and also the unresolved trauma of the borderline person feeds off this resentment, annoyance, and anger. The resentment, annoyance, and anger of the rescuer person feeds the unresolved trauma narrative of the borderline person, which is mainly founded on childhood shame, guilt, and anxiety. The rescuer personality type provides both of these two states to the borderline person, the loving rescuer fantasy, and also the sabotaging that the borderline person does, where they provoke these unresolved emotions of resentment, annoyance, and anger, creating the relationship conflict that is so familiar to the inner child of the borderline person. Now, if this rescuer type of personality resonates with you, and you have found yourself in a relationship with a borderline type of personality or even a narcissist, I want to give you some very important tips to proceed forward in a healthy and effective way. Number one is to accept that you can't heal, save, or rescue anyone else. You can only be supportive to them with things that they are already doing in order to heal and improve themselves. Number two, if they are open to doing individual self-work, not couples therapy, then you can certainly try and point them in the right direction of someone that has successful experience in helping with these types of personalities, But even this has to have an end date. If you are not seeing real action and progress, you have to have a date that you stop with this and get out, especially if you're not seeing any lasting or positive change. Remember that it is certainly possible for a borderline person to heal and improve, whereas with a narcissist, it is not possible. So please don't waste your time trying to help a narcissist to change and heal. Number 3, prioritize things that are good for your inner peace, your mental health, and your physical health. Self-care is always number 1. Number 4, this can include a break from the other person. It could be for a few days with no contact, and it could be living separately for a few months with limited contact. Do whatever it is that you need in order to not lose yourself in the borderline person's drama narrative. And lastly, number 5, make sure you team up with someone so you can do your own self-work and your own inner child work, resolving your childhood experiences that are driving your subconscious, your feelings, your thoughts, and your behaviors. A person can certainly resolve and overcome this perpetual rescuer role that leads to attracting troubled relationships. I hope this video has been helpful. Take care of yourself and stay gold.